8 last year total. But the chief tasked us at the beginning of the year with targeting the violent members of these gangs, and that's what we've been doing. The county prosecutors actually dedicated prosecutors to this effort. They work on this specifically. This case started, as you said, a few months back when there was an increase in shootings and gun violence in the Broadway Fleet area. 3 gangs were identified. One was from Maple Heights, and one was from the Fleet area, one was from the Broadway area. Several of the people who were originally indicted, the day they were arrested, it was determined that they were involved in some of the carjackings in the Tremont area. So this violence that these folks are involved in Broadway Fleet area stretched over to the other districts and other cities in the area. Worked with the Maple Heights Police Department on this. This house that was hit in Maple Heights was actually a gang house, and as a result of the entry to arrest 2 of the suspects in this indictment, there were 3 others that were found in the house, and there was evidence that was in plain view that enabled us to get a search warrant for the house, and found secreted in the basement area up in the insulation were these guns here, an assault rifle. That's not the actual assault rifle, that's just like it, because we're sending it for special testing, and we can't show it here. But the gang impact unit, as the chief said, was augmented by an extra 9 detectives a couple months ago. And just to give you an idea of what they do, this month alone, including these guns, they've taken 16 guns off the street. In October there was 20. In September they took 43 guns off the street. So they're out there working hard every day. They're working with the county prosecutors hand in hand on these invests. We work with the U.S. attorney. When we get a bad guy that has a gun that has a bad record, we go with the U.S. attorney and we'll take him federally. I'll just open up for any questions you have relative to this. And I'll turn, go ahead.
Good. I was just going to say, you said the gangs were in Broadway and Maple Heights. What do they call themselves? What?
Right now we're calling the Broadway gang, Fleet gang, and then Maple Heights, but there's heartless felons that are tied into this, and I think Lindsay, who's the lead prosecutor on this, could probably answer that question better.
Okay.
Were these all part of one gang then, or?
Yeah, these members here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commander, how many, again, could you do the gun count? How many guns have been taken off, you said, from year to last year to this year off the street?
Well, just the gang impact unit, and that's all I can speak to right now. We've, from January 1st, the gang impact unit guys have taken 165 guns off the street. That doesn't include narcotics, it doesn't include the districts, it's just the gang impact unit, just 2 squads. And this month alone already, it's the 13th, we've taken 16 guns. September was 43 guns. You know, last night, we had 2 squads involved in this takedown. One of the squads then went and worked a regular shift last night. They got 2 more guns last night. Guys rolling on the street with them. So it's just, you know, their job is probably one of the most dangerous in law enforcement. That's all they do is chase guys with guns. So, but I'll turn it over to Dwayne Deskins from the County Prosecutor's Office.
Good afternoon. Once again, we want to thank our law enforcement partners, the FBI, the Cleveland Police Department, Maple Heights, ATF, Southeast Area Law Enforcement Agencies, and the Cuyahoga County Sheriff. This is an 85-count indictment. It's broken up into 5 groups. There are approximately 15 charges that are repeated throughout the 85 counts. The most serious of them are attempted murder, felonious assault, kidnapping, also shooting into a residence. These individuals who are charged are, we believe, members of the Heartless Felons or associates of the Heartless Felons. They are combining and working together in the Broadway area of Cleveland, and you know that this is an ongoing investigation and effort. We spoke to you just last week about a 52-person case involving gang violence plaguing the west side of Cleveland, and now this week we're announcing again 14 individuals who were targeting individuals and members of our community living in the southeast area of our community. And with the tireless efforts of law enforcement here, We expect in this case and others like them to be brought in the near future. If there's anything further I could add to what you already added and questioned, I'd be glad to do so. But I want to make sure that you know that this is not the end of something.
Do you feel like you're making it then, and making progress and headway?
I think every case that we've done in terms of these gang cases have resulted in reduction of crime. I don't expect that one case is going to make everybody just go away and hide, but I think that what we're trying to suggest to you, and that the commander just pointed out, is that it's consistency. We've been at this now for well over a year, and bringing gang case after gang case unless these guys realize that we're really serious and we're going to stay here long enough to get the job done. And I think you should be some comfort or consolation to the public, because they know that we're tireless at this. And the Deputy Chief pointed out that there was a rise in gun violence, and you see a clear and quick response. This are things that are happening this year, and we're going to be dealing with these people in court. And hopefully those streets will remain a little safer for all the people who live and work and play and call that area home.
You guys said that this was in response to increase in shootings. Do you have any idea what's fueling that increase? Are people just getting more bold on the street, or what? Any idea?
I mean, these young males with, with weapons. I don't know if they're becoming any more bolder or not, but there is a small group out there that is, very, very reckless, and we've seen the results of that recklessness. So I don't really think anybody's getting any bolder, but I believe it's the access to weapons. It's very easy to access these guns, and then these young kids with them that really don't know the ramifications when they pull that trigger. They really do not realize the damage that it does, let alone if it strikes someone, but to their lives and to the community at large. So there has been, it's been widely reported, there has been an increase, but I think it's just like I said, the recklessness of a very, very small population of young men in some of these communities.
We've been in here for news conferences after several shootings over the course of the past year. This is an investigation that has been going on during that time. Was it frustrating not wanting to let people know? You're saying we're on top of it, but to give details and to let them know, we're close to rounding some of this up.
Well, I don't know if it was frustrating, but I can tell you during the course of an investigation like this, if shootings occur and we have incidents that occur, we immediately go out and address that issue. We will not let an issue sit for the greater good of an investigation like this. Like I said, we've had these shootings. We aggressively look for the people that shot the young kids, the carjackings, and these were just people that were still out there that we really couldn't pin anything on or put anything on until we went into the grand jury and provided the evidence to the prosecutor's office. So, I just, I hope the public does know that it is what these men and women in the Gang Impact Squad are doing is they are chasing that small, violent group out on the streets. They're out there now. They're going to be out there at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the results are all these guns coming in. So, Corey, when you asked before, does it make a difference? I really think it does. And I think these people these are suspects now, but, we could have been looking at them as a victim someday, too. They're carrying guns. They're in that culture. So, they're not going to the nicest place, but they're not going to the graveyard either. They're going to be going to prison. They're going to be taken off our streets. But I do think the men and women are making a difference.
Chief, you wanted me to ask you timeliness of this. With regard to the smash and grab of the ATMs, is this involved? How do you investigate that with this? Is it tie-in or?
What was that? I didn't hear.
The ATM, you back the rise. They think of ATMs being stolen by people backing into the businesses. And loading them out.
Yeah, we've had that. We've had that challenge going on. We've had a few of those over the last couple of years. So, if we come across, obviously, what we're looking for is weapons, shooters, felonious assault, people that are robbing people. But if we come across something like that, that's a very dangerous and serious crime. Also, plus they're affecting the commerce of the city and the county, where they're backing these trucks and these cars into these businesses and destroying them. We will not look the other way on anything, but our focus, prosecutor and the gang's focus, is guns and gang violence.
And again, it was in the course of the investigation into this that you learned about the Tremont connection?
Yes.
And that was made, okay.
Exactly, yep. When you arrest people and you're out there talking to people, people are going to provide you information for whatever reason. They want to help themselves, they want to help us, so that's a big strategy and a big part of police work is debriefing these men and women that we come in contact with.
One more question, might be for the both of you maybe. But I know that Cleveland's, gang outlay is kind of not very structured. There's little street groups. The chief alluded to that in the press conference after one of the children were shot. He said, I don't know if these are gangs or more neighborhood groups. What goes into the decision to charge, as a gang versus, just charging them with shootings? Like, what sticks that?
You know what,
gang charge?
I'll defer to the legal people. They could tell you, because there is a criteria.
Absolutely. Let me just say this much, that Tim McGinty, our county prosecutor, has devoted the resources to stay with this effort. And over the course of time that we've done these cases, and I think you want to just go back to the point you mentioned before about, do you get frustrated? I don't think you get frustrated when you continuously see results. You continuously see results. And we've been at this for well over a year. And we have many, many people that we brought in under gang charges, and we've detailed them to you in each of those press conferences. The rapes, the robberies, the murders, the kidnappings, the violent crimes, the shootings. You almost begin to answer your own question by just the reporting you've already done about these people. And all we've tried to do is to say that an individual crime is not necessarily a random event. What we've tried to show is that, and this is the most recent example of that these are actually interlocking events, that there actually is a source behind the crime, and that is what leads to the charging of multiple individuals, and in this case, in terms of a gang indictment. These two prosecutors over here, Lindsay Raskin and Ryan Bokach, are part of that consistency in that effort. Lindsay, maybe you want to say a little more about how we charge these gang cases?
Absolutely. When it comes to a gang investigation, we tend to have a several-month-long investigation, and we look at how the gang operates, from whether they have a rank structure, different signs, symbols, colors. We look at their predicate acts or the criminal histories and how they link together, committing crimes. So we really look for a pattern of violence committed by a group that's united in some way, whether it's those common colors, signs, or symbols. But Cleveland definitely does have a gang presence, and I think it's more structured and organized than most people believe.
And also, was this a mother and 3 of her sons involved in this, or?
Yes.
And what does that say to you about the society?
Well, it says to some of us is, the value of the family and the value of the community. You're a reflection of that. You're a reflection of the values in your home and the values in your community. And if you're not being provided that guidance, if your guidance is being provided, and it involves criminal activity, obviously it's, nothing's really surprising us, though. I got to tell you, we're not surprised by it. But me personally, I believe it's, in the home, in the family, good, strong values. A lot of these people wouldn't be here, but obviously she wasn't providing that to them. So.
She was just arrested like about half an hour ago.
Yeah.
And also, don't take away the notion of intergenerational crime. These gentlemen have been in the law enforcement business for a long time, and they will tell you they've arrested generations of people in the family. The good news is that for the bulk of the people who live in Cuyahoga County, this doesn't really affect them in the sense that they're not out there teaching their kids the wrong things in life. So your question about was it teaching about the family, that there is, as the Deputy Chief pointed out, a small group, and we're targeting who those people are. And yes, some of them do have intergenerational crime, but we'll stay committed and stay after them for the duration.
To your question about the carjackings, the way that transpired was our impact guys and SWAT guys were looking for, I think it was 2 shooters that day, and they went to the house, arrested 1 shooter, and while they were looking for the other one, they saw him as a passenger in a car. There was, the car took off, stopped a short while later in a yard by Ovington. They both jumped out and fled. And the one gentleman ran into a house. He was the driver. The shooter that they were looking for, ran. He dropped a bag, had 2 guns in it, but he ran and kept on going. the car that they were in was taken in a carjacking in Tremont. So that's how that whole connection started right there. But then, in fact, when they did a search warrant at the house where the driver ran into, they got 3 more guns out of there. So it's just guns. The common denominator here is guns, guns, guns. With all of these guys. So.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.